So, what if I told you that the urge to quit, that voice in your head screaming, "I'm done," isn't actually a sign of weakness? What if it's just a biological signal that you can learn to override? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. The incredible science behind persistence and how you can literally train your body to never, ever give up.
All right, let's just dive right in with this really powerful idea that comes from the Navy SEALs. It's something they call the 40% rule. And the concept is pretty simple, but it is mind-blowing. It says that when your mind is telling you you're done, that you can't go another step, that you are completely tapped out, you're actually only at 40% of what you're truly capable of. Now look, this isn't just some motivational poster slogan, right? This is a physiological reality. It turns out our brains are hardwired for survival, and that wiring, it creates this powerful illusion of a limit. So let's unpack what's really going on inside your body when you think you've hit that wall.
So that feeling of being completely done, it's basically a protective illusion. Your brain is a master at creating these signals, fatigue, doubt, even pain, to get you to stop long before you actually reach your real physical breaking point. It's a safety mechanism, sure, but the thing is, it's a safety mechanism that almost always underestimates what you're truly capable of.
Okay, so where does this incredibly powerful urge to just stop, where does it even come from? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look at a very specific and very ancient part of the brain.
Everyone, meet the amygdala. You can think of this thing as your brain's ancient and, frankly, kind of overprotective alarm system. Anytime you face a real challenge, doesn't matter if it's running a marathon or just finishing a really tough project, the amygdala starts blaring its sirens. It floods you with all those feelings that scream, stop, retreat, danger. And yeah, it's a survival mechanism, but in our modern world, it gets a little dramatic. It often misjudges the actual threat level of what we're doing.
But here's the good news, right? Your brain isn't just an alarm system. It also has this incredibly powerful go system. It's designed specifically to push forward and, override that blaring alarm. So what you have is this constant battle raging inside your head. In one corner, you've got the amygdala. It's emotional, it's impulsive, it just wants comfort and safety now. But in the other corner, you have the prefrontal cortex. This is the logical, planning, self-control part of you. And here's the key. Winning the battle for persistence is all about strengthening that prefrontal cortex so it can calmly look at the panicking amygdala and say, hey, I hear you, thanks for the warning, but we've got this. So how does the prefrontal cortex actually win that fight? Well, it needs fuel. And a huge piece of that fuel is a chemical called dopamine. Now, we all think of dopamine as the pleasure molecule, but it's actually more accurate to call it the motivation molecule. It's that little neurochemical reward your brain gives you that basically says, hey, that was good, let's do that again. And here's the really cool part. You can strategically create your own motivation engine. You can hack this system. By taking some huge, intimidating task and breaking it down into a series of tiny, achievable wins, you create what's called a continuous dopamine loop. Every little victory gives you that chemical hit, that fuel you need to tackle the next small thing. And before you know it, you've built up some serious, unstoppable momentum.
This Michael Jordan quote, it's not just an inspiring line. It's a perfect example of something called neuroplasticity in action. See, every single time you push through a setback, like one of those 9,000 missed shots, you're not just trying again. You are physically rewiring your brain. The pathways for resilience are literally getting stronger, like a muscle. Your brain learns from every single challenge, which makes being persistent just a little bit easier the next time around.
Okay, so enough of the sciencey talk. Let's get practical. How do you actually do this? Let's get into the toolkit. Because persistence, it's a skill you can actively train, just like lifting weights at the gym.
All right, here we go. Here are 5 powerful, science-backed methods you can start using like today to train your own physiology to blow right past that 40% wall and really find out what you're made of.
First on the list, controlled stress exposure. Okay, this means voluntarily putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. I'm talking cold showers, super intense exercise, maybe even fasting. It sounds a little nuts, but what you're doing is teaching that jumpy amygdala of yours that discomfort is not the same as danger. You're basically building up your tolerance to its stop signals, proving to your own body, see, we can handle this.
Okay, method number 2 is your breath.
And this is like your secret weapon because it's one of the only ways you can consciously grab the steering wheel of your body's automatic systems. So when you feel that panic or fatigue starting to creep in, a simple technique like box breathing, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, that can instantly calm your entire system down and keep your logical brain, your prefrontal cortex, in the driver's seat.
Now, this one is absolutely fascinating, the power of community. Just look at marathon completion rates. They are way, way higher for people who run in groups versus those who run alone. And it's not just about, having someone to hold you accountable. Being part of a team, a tribe, it actually changes your hormonal balance. Your brain releases chemicals like oxytocin, which literally lowers stress and makes it easier to persist. We are biologically wired to endure more when we're together.
This right here, this is the ultimate mental reframe. People like Edison, the great achievers, they literally adapt their physiology to see failure in a completely different light. For them, instead of a setback triggering a stress response that screams, "Stop!" it actually becomes a dopamine trigger that says, "Ooh, interesting, new data, let's try something else." Failure stops being a defeat and it becomes what it really is, essential feedback.
And hey, if you ever need proof that your body has way more in the tank than you think, just remember the second wind. We've all felt it. It's a real, scientifically proven thing. After you push through what feels like total exhaustion, your body suddenly unlocks these hidden energy reserves. You get this flood of endorphins and adrenaline. It's literally your body's way of showing you that the 40% rule is absolutely real.
So, when you boil it all down, what does this mean? It's actually pretty simple. Persistence isn't some magical trait that you're either born with or you're not. No way. It is a physiological system, a system you can understand, you can train, and you can absolutely master. That feeling of being done, that's not your limit, it's just the starting line for discovering what you can really do.
Look, your body was built to endure, and your brain was designed to adapt. Once you really get this science, you can master the art of not giving up. So if this was valuable to you, think about who you know that needs to hear this. Share it with them. Because, sometimes just understanding the why behind the struggle, that's all the fuel someone needs to keep going.